Hey everyone, we're back. Today we have two special guests. We have Isco, or actually he's more of a regular guest these days. And then we have from the Gatineau side, Mihai. He's a mortgage agent as well with Mortgage Alliance. So today we're just going to go through a few things on the market, do a little market update, talk about what's been happening in the world, in the country. Not the 51st state yet, but who knows what's going to happen here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so in terms of the market, big thing here is the inventory. I don't know what you guys are seeing on the buyer side, people looking at purchases and stuff like that. In terms of listings, we're in 2025, in April year to date, we're at 8,080 new listings, which is up from last year, which we had 7,700. In 2023, we had 6,100, and then even in the COVID years, the most we had was 78 and 7,600. And then if we go back to 2019, we had 7,025. So inventory has been a huge topic this year all around. Sales activity, this one's not good. It's down. So sales activity is less than last year. We're at 3,900. In 2023, we're just around 3,700 in year to date. But if we, COVID years, 5,600 and 6,300 in the peaks. So huge years at those times. But 2019, we had 4,800. So we're actually even less than 2019. I don't know how the market was in 2019. Can't remember that far back, but I don't know if it was as bad as this, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't as good as COVID years, right? So, and then obviously another big one is months of inventory. We have 4.1 months of inventory. So, going back to last year, 2.5 months of inventory. Going back to the year before in 2023, we had 2.2. And in 2019, the reason why I'm going back to 2019 is because we're going through different years all this time. It was 1.9. So it seems like we're not. It feels like we're kind of in a buyer's market, but this is just a complete general outlook. What I'm seeing on my side is that it depends completely on the property. Because there's homes selling for over asking in 7 days or in a couple of days in some areas, and then there's homes that are sitting for 3 to 6 months. The suburbs we've talked about the suburbs all year, me and Isco, and it's been, the suburbs have been tougher than the central area of the city. Central area of the city has been kind of flying off the shelves, and then condos have been obviously slower as well, but also depending on the condo, depending on the area, depending on all that. Everything's depending, but yeah. What are you guys seeing? What's the general sentiment for buyers? So, Mihai, you're in the Gatineau side. Isco, you're on the Ottawa side. So, kind of give me a little breakdown of what you guys are seeing on the purchasing side of things.
Mihai, you wanna? We see low inventory as well. I don't have numbers for you, but it's pretty low inventory. They are flying off the shelf, unless they're badly priced, obviously, right? Yeah. So if they're well priced, they go in about a week, multiple offers. I have seen stuff stay on the market for 3, 4, 5 weeks. That's the situation overall.
What about you on the purchase side of things?
Yeah, I think there's definitely more inventory. There are people because a lot of people are looking to buy. Yeah. So it was before. So people wanted to buy a house before. They would go ahead and buy the house, and they would say, okay, you know what, my house is going to sell in a couple of weeks. Let me list it after. And now we're sort of having the conversation, which is like, you know what, you might want to consider listing first before going buying, unless you know that you're going to be okay with the pricing. Like if you're ready to put an aggressive price on the house that you're going to sell, maybe you can go ahead with that. But if you think you're going to go on the higher end, maybe it's not best to buy right away and then hope to sell quickly. So, but purchases are starting to come up again after I think after the elections, after some of the tariffs sort of that talk settled down. So it's I think it's picked up for us on.
No, for sure. Like the last 2-3 weeks, I'd say you could feel like some positivity. Yeah. It's a rough year regardless. I think it's not what a lot of people were expecting. I mean, based on the inventory, it looks like a lot of people were expecting good stuff. But a lot of the inventory that's on the market right now is buys and sells, like people that have a house that want to buy. The first time home buyer there's not too many of them out there, and that's kind of why the price range of those, like especially the condo townhomes, the condo stacked units, the condo kind of like anything condo style is sitting longer, which is like a perfect entry point because those range between the 350 to 500 range, and those are sitting longer than expected, depending on how they're priced. Obviously, if it's priced aggressively and it has good features and in great shape, it's selling very quickly. But these are all things that are factoring into the day-to-day part of the inventory. We just got access to this again. This is something we didn't have access to before. So the dark blue line here, this is the new listings per week for residential and condos. So basically you can see how it started off in the year. 2023, so this year seems very similar to 2023 is what I'm kind of getting. Obviously the numbers are completely different. But basically in 2023, we'd see inventory come up, then it would sell, it would come up, it would sell, it would come up, it would sell, and then kind of just go off like that for the next couple of months until we got to the kind of September-ish range. It would go up pretty high, and then it would slowly start to taper off as we finish the year. But this year, we're like really high up there in terms of listings. Like this is abnormal, right? So if you're a buyer, when's the right time to buy? Well, when there's tons of inventory. But again, I'm going to go back to the thing, like it all depends, because I have like clients that are looking in certain areas and it's like we're fighting tooth and nail to even like get on these properties because, everybody's looking in this area or there's tons of activity. But if you're a first time home buyer, I think you have some good options out there, and I think there's flexibility on that. How have you guys been hearing much sentiment from the first time home buyers? Has there been like I know we talked about rates before. I heard fixed rates were kind of coming up. I'm not sure what's going to happen on the next rate announcement, but yeah, what are you guys seeing on that?
I think they're gonna they've got to lower the rate. That's sort of what everyone's saying because unemployment's at I think 6.9%, which is quite high for Canada, and so they have to stimulate the economy. One way to do that is by lowering rates, and of course that translates into other things as well, like lowering of lines of credit, operating lines of credit for businesses, and so that stimulates the economy maybe directly and indirectly. So I think that's going to happen. Fixed rates have come up a little bit, but I tell everyone, like, if you're in the low fours, you're good. It wasn't too long ago that your 5-year fixed rate for first-time buyers was in the low sixes. So now you're in the low fours. Prices have come down. It's a decent time to buy a home if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I think here's my kind of thing. Like in 2023, everybody was waiting for the crash, right? And because the rates went up in 2022, and then things started going down. Towards the end of the year, and then rates were coming up and this and that, and then people were looking for, I'm waiting for it to just really go to the end. Well, you know what happened? Prices dropped like 5 to 10%, and then all of a sudden people are like, yeah, I'm not waiting till the end, I'm buying mine now because it's a good time to buy.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of going to start entering that range very soon, just because, like, how many chances are you going to be willing to take, right?
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, you're just going to be like, okay, we've been renting for 3 to 5 years, and the rates are good, the prices are decent, my mortgage payment isn't too high, it's probably a little bit less than what my rent is right now. Why wouldn't I buy, right? So those, again, it's not saying that like I can predict the future, but like at a certain point, something's got to give, right?
Yeah. What's this is obviously rough, but like what is the price difference between Gatineau and Ottawa? Because like I've seen townhomes in Elmer go for the same price as townhomes in Ottawa.
Yeah.
I
don't know anything about
So
Gatineau.
what are, I would say you can have townhouses 500 to 600 in the newer townhomes.
Oh, it's
Okay.
insane.
When we're looking
It's the
at,
same price. That's the
Yeah.
same
when
price.
we're looking though at older stuff, it can be anywhere from 230 depending on how run down they are. What I tell my clients, and you guys made excellent points. What I tell my clients is that there's the gold. Do you guys know the gold bar analogy? The 400. Anyway, so back in the 1960s, 12 or 8 kilo, I forget. A gold bar bought a single family home for like 14K or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now a gold bar also buys a single family home, but it's for 900,000. So the issue is the money is devaluing. So if you can carry, what I tell my clients is like the way I frame it is, if you can afford to carry it, and nobody has a crystal ball, but if you can afford to carry the house for the next 10 years, you should be good through the ups and downs because the dollar keeps getting devalued, right? All the currencies keep getting devalued.
Yeah.
So it's best time to buy was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The next best time is today. It's not always a good time to sell, but I think it's always a good time to buy if you get the right deal.
Yeah, especially if you're locking in a 5-year fixed rate and it's a reasonably reasonable rate. Like it's like when you think about the people that were, these days are gone, but the people that were at 1.59, 1.99, their rate was actually lower than inflation.
Oh yeah.
right? So it was actually like
crazy.
as if they were in the negatives. You know, when you
Yeah, you're
look
making
at it-
money.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
your
very
money's working
interesting.
better than you.
Yeah. So
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
signed in 2021 when it was 2 point something, 2 point I think 2.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm renewing in 2026. So
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I might renew earlier depending on
Yeah,
how
depending on
the
where it
market
goes,
is
right?
or where I think it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the houses are fairly similar. I would say it depends on it depends on the area. But Ottawa is more expensive from what
Yeah.
I've seen from my clients because I do
Yeah.
Ottawa as well. Well, from what I've seen, Ottawa is way more expensive. So single family homes with one garage and not necessarily so close to downtown are more expensive than closer to downtown Gatineau units.
Which is pretty it's pretty wild to me. There's two it's a completely different story, right? Like you're in two different provinces just by crossing a 2-minute bridge,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not even 2 minutes, like 1 minute
Yeah.
across the bridge, right? So, it's interesting. I mean, that's a pretty high price point, but again, you're in Gatineau, and you're not far from the city center, right?
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I first moved here from the GTA, I lived in Old Hall.
yeah.
So I was going to school back
How was
then.
that?
It was, I mean, it was good because I mean I grew up in Hamilton, so like it was nice.
the same
compared
thing.
Yeah, it was nice. It was like nice compared
back
to nice compared to East Hamilton. But I was looking at it, I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Like the capital city is there, Parliament Hill is right there, and I can walk there in 10 minutes, and prices are this cheap. Like imagine somebody telling me you can in 10 minutes you can walk to downtown Toronto to where the CN Tower is. That property would be prime, but it was so cheap in Old Hall, and I thought this is gonna take off one day. And I mean, now we're deep into it, and it's taken off, and
Yeah.
now there's lots of development and portage and lots of condos.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
it's-
I thought it was just I couldn't believe it. Like people should have been like those houses when I was there were like 160, 170 duplex in Old Hall. You know what I mean? And rent was nice and cheap, but
Yeah.
So I think like Old Hall and that whole area has lots of room for growth.
Well, like just talking about Old Hall, there was a restaurant there or like a little convenience store that my dad's friend had owned way back in the day, and we'd go there and it was dead, man. Like there was nothing
Yeah.
there. Like after 5 p.m. it was like nobody was around, right? And then like now it's like they have that what is it, Kitcha Zibby or whatever, the Zibby like the buildings there that are really nice right on the water. They're building more. There's the zip line thing. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I agree. Like there's so much potential there, and like yes, it's in Gatineau, sure, whatever. But I mean, what does Quebec have that's other than Montreal? Quebec City, yes, but there's like things like we're a big country. It needs to start developing. Like I don't think there's anything bad about like having development in areas that could see growth, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you want to have more people wanting to live in an area that's sought after? Of course you would, right? Like as a country, as a province, just stimulates growth, right? More jobs, all these things, right?
Yeah.
The jobs need to provide to pay people to be able to build the buildings and all these things. So, I don't see anything wrong with it. And like I mean, good times, 160 for a duplex, like
Yeah.
It's still not bad though. As an investor, I'm still looking at that area.
Yeah.
I almost I was gonna make an offer, but anyway, on a triplex, 450.
yeah,
Wow.
And you're not far. I mean, it's not near Portage. It's
Yeah.
like it was off of Maisonneuve, so it was. I would tell you about like a 12-15 minute walk from Portage, but it's still a walkable
Yeah.
to Parliament Hill.
Yeah.
There's still deals to be had up there.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Next one I'm going to go into is the sold properties. So this one, obviously, we're at the lowest we've been in the last 4 years or 3 years. Sorry. So 2022 was the peak, obviously there. 2023, the light blue. We're trending on par with that. You can see we got a little bump here, but even in 2023, the bump was much higher. In 2024, oddly enough, we were actually similar to that, but the bump started a little bit earlier. So I think like this is kind of what I'm expecting to see, is that I think this is our kind of kickstart this month, and I think our spring market is going to head into the summer, kind of like July. But typically we do see it drop off towards June, which I think we're going to be a little bit different than that. I think we're going to head into July, and a little bit of August might be hot this year, and then taper off towards the end of the year. But that's kind of what I've been seeing, is that super slow start to the year. Some things are selling, some aren't. A lot of inventory, but average price point. This is the crazy one. So we have tons of inventory. Average price point is the exact same as it's been the last few years. So what are we sitting at here? We're floating around 700. I mean, this is residential only, so like the average um, freehold home, so that townhomes, semis, detached, whatever, all that stuff is jumbled into one. But yeah, all floating around the same. And you saw it here. It started going up in January, up and down towards February, and then it started peaking towards 700. Then it dropped off, right? As soon as people see prices start dropping off, they come back up and start bringing the prices back up, right? We had some big ups here, and then it went down, and then right back up again, right? So maybe there's going to be a little valley here, but then I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right back up. That's for residential. So average price point for a residential and condo. So this is every property available in Ontario or in Ottawa. Yeah, we're below. The average is below. So if we're factoring in condos, we're way below, not way below, but we're quite below. So we're at 605, 610 roughly. And at the same time last year, we're more than that because it was the spring market. Average price sale for the condos, this one is the most sporadic one because condos vary so much, right? Like this could be just a bunch of big sales happen and people bought expensive units and they go up and then it go down. But yeah, it's the condo market is quite sporadic. I know we see a lot of impending doom from the Toronto market.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in Toronto ever wants to buy a condo again.
No.
But that's kind of what happens, right? Like builders start building a lot. Like what can you do in Toronto? Nothing. You can live in a condo, and that's kind of it. It's
Yeah.
very similar to New York, right?
Yeah.
You can't get a freehold in New York anywhere. Like I mean, it's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing. I mean, again, every time I talk about this, it's like it's very generalized and everything is different when you like look at specific properties. So I don't want somebody to get the wrong idea where it's like, okay, well, this is a generalization of this, and this. It's very general, yes, but we're always looking at the overall market. We're not looking at micro markets. Like whenever a seller or a buyer asks me like, hey, how come this sold for 50K over asking, but then this one, 10, 15 minutes away sold for 50K under? Well, two different micro markets. This area could be completely an absolute stunner, like amazing area, and it's very sought after. And then that one over there has tons of issues where it's near community housing and subsidized housing and this and that and like yada yada yada. But both nice homes, very similar homes, but there could be a 100K price difference between them. Just by going outside of that, right? So those are some things that I always look at, and really understanding values is you got to go into the micro markets and stuff like that. Rate announcements. What do you guys think for rate announcements? I think we have one here coming up in June, I think. Yeah, when's there? Yeah, June 4th. So what are we, 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Mihai?
Either 25 basis points lower or the same. It will depend on, it's been so hectic before. So in 2020, 2021, I knew the rates were going to go up before they did. I was always able to predict, not by how much, but I was able to see the trends. And now, because of so many moving parts and so many variables, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be either the same or 25 basis points drop. It will depend on the, trade, tariff situation and our economy, what numbers come out, if any.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's positives in the news and negatives. Like right now, like Honda's pausing their $15 billion EV production plant that they were going to do in Alliston.
Good. No more EVs.
No more EVs. No more iPads on wheels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's 4,000 jobs, right? So then, okay, how do we recoup from that? It's a lot of jobs. Okay, well we got to lower the rates. I mean we want to, incentivize companies to build. So these kind of things play a role with these rate announcements. But I think yeah, like maybe 25 basis points cut is what I'm hoping for. I'm a variable mortgage rate holder myself, so it's good for my clients, good for me. I'd be happy. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
So yeah, like so we've been dropping since July of last year. So we did 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.50, 0.50, 0.25 twice this year. We took a pause in April. Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Maybe they pause for another 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another one in July too, right? July 30th. So it's like we're not that far away.
Yeah, I think some of the big banks, like I know BMO's predicting about 50 to 75 basis point drop by the end of the year.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. So like, what does that leave us? So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's probably gonna be 2 pauses and maybe 2 more or 3 more 0.25 drops. I don't see a 0.5 drop coming anytime soon. Like I feel like that's too fast. And I wanted to take a look at the Canada bonds. Yeah, so this one, I mean, it's been floating around the same number. So 6 months, yeah. So it's been basically 2.7-ish since April. Would drop down to 2.4, and everybody thought rates were gonna go crazy and just drop really low. But no, I think like this stuff, I don't look at this stuff on a day to day. I think I'd lose my mind if I looked at it every single day because.
Yeah.
Like thinking that the rates are going to drop just based on slight little things in the market. I don't see that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to what the rates are. Is like it's what can you afford? Is your monthly payment 2,000? Is it 1,800? Is it 2,500? Is it what can you afford? Are you factoring in your taxes? Are you factoring in your utilities? Are you factoring like all these things, right?
Yeah.
And even for investors too, right? There's not like, are you guys seeing lots of investors in the market?
Yeah.
You're seeing them all. Yeah, I'm not seeing like the small investor that wants to rent a property out.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like more like holding companies that are
Yeah.
buying multiple properties for future development. Not necessarily the guy that's like, hey, I want to be a landlord and let me buy a condo.
Yeah.
That guy's gone, long gone.
I think those guys are I think those guys are few and far between. Like there's and those are the properties that are like between 700 to 2 million. That's like the duplex, triplex, fourplex, fiveplex.
Yeah.
It looks like there's enough maneuvering that you can do in that kind of market, but I think like you're right. Like the people that are looking at multi units, like those guys are still in and they're looking for good deals. But I mean anything can be a good deal depending on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So really,
because it's different on the Quebec side.
Wow.
Like we have people. People are still door knocking for bank positions and stuff like that. So we have.
Wow.
It's not crazy activity. They're not always going in multiple offers, but every time I look at a property that I'm interested in, there's always other offers.
Okay.
There's interest. So, but the prices are lower, right? Like
Yeah.
Over in the Quebec side, it starts at 400,000.
oh yeah,
For the
triplex.
rundown stuff.
A rundown triplex for 400.
Yeah, the
I mean,
more is low for it.
Yeah,
right?
but even if you have to put in 150, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure the rents aren't that far off in Gatineau than they are in Ontario.
They're a bit lower, but not that by that much. And you can
Yeah.
purchase plus rentals, and there's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're an owner occupant, you can get in, and
Yeah.
if it's a duplex, at 5%. If it's a triplex,
Yeah.
10% down payment. So it's
Yeah, I mean,
attractive for
Yeah.
some people.
like I've seen rundown triplexes for 700 and 650, and like duplexes for 550 that are run down with no parking and like this and that.
Yeah.
Like those aren't that great. They're cheap, but they're not
Yeah.
great deals. And they still need some work, right? So there's stuff out there. Like again, everything. I always say it depends.
Yeah.
Everything depends on the property. So like see it and see what you think. So we're talking about that. So I think we've covered most of the stuff on the markets. Let me ask you this: what are both of your predictions for the next 6 months?
In terms of
Just overall market and interest rates.
What do you think, Mihan?
it's a tough call. I think we're gonna have at least one more rate cut. Again, like I said before, I don't have no crystal ball. I'm not sure what's going on in the world. There's a lot of conflict everywhere. There's trade wars happening, but I suspect it's gonna stay the same. Like I don't think there's gonna be a market crash. Although people are announcing it that there's signals. In the economy, if you hear, Rolexes are going down in price, Ferraris are going down in price. So whenever the luxury market's a good indicator of, those are discretionary. That's discretionary spending.
Yeah.
So I still think here in Canada, because we have a lot of intervention, a lot of possibly, the central bank is fairly
Stable.
interventionist and fairly stable, and all our banks are stable. So I suspect that if there's a drop, it's going to be limited. I think it's going to be the same pattern we've seen.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong. Hopefully, if I'm proven wrong, if I'm proven wrong, people can invest.
Yeah.
If not, people who are already in the market are going to make money. So either way, it's a good time to buy now. That's better.
Yeah,
What do you think is cool?
Yeah, and I think also like we're in the National Capital Region. I think it's like different for us than maybe somebody in
For
Southern
sure.
Ontario. So I
Huge,
think like that's
huge.
another safety net that we have that others don't. So
I mean, the government's laying off people, but yeah, we do have a safety net,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. No, sorry, I interrupted.
yeah, no, I think like I'm optimistic. Like I've invested in, like I've hired, spending more on different things. Like I'm optimistic about the outlook. Like you got to just keep pushing on. Like
Yeah, I think the hard work factor is back, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like things aren't as easy as they were the last, not this year, not last year, but like 2-3 years before that. You're making money by sitting at home.
Yeah.
Right. When is that ever going to happen? If it ever happens again, start selling every single thing you got.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically it.
Yeah.
Because basically right now, I have some sellers telling me like, hey, I don't want to sell unless I get this number. Well, like, those are numbers from 2022 and 2021, and people were throwing bags of money at you, telling you to sell, and you didn't sell then. So this is not that same market. Like literally, people like you would put your property on the market, and it would sell. You'd have 30 people in within the first 2-3 days, and it would sell in less than 7 days, and it was firm, and you didn't have a single condition in there. Like that, those days are gone, right? Yes, it's happening on some properties that are prepped and priced well, sure, but the majority of the market is not like that right now. And that's like, and I think too, like my prediction is, I think prices are going to drop a little bit, and I think they're going to come right back up, and we're going to be at the same place we were the last 2-3 years. And I think that's good stability in a sense. Yes, things are going bad in the world, but in a sense, we're kind of stable. I think the market right now is very. I won't lean towards seller or buyer, but I'll say it's more balanced than it's ever been in the last 5 years, just because if you are a buyer and you're looking for something specific, it might be tough, and you might have some competition depending on where you're looking. But if you're a buyer that's open to 5-6 different things or 5-6 different areas that you're just flexible on those things, you're gonna have some flexibility on what you want to buy. So I think there's gonna be two different things there. As a seller, you aren't gonna have as much flexibility, right? If you have 3, 4, 5, 6 competing homes, like if you have a townhome in the suburbs, good luck. You gotta be the best priced one, you gotta be in the best shape, and you have to have the cleanest property. Like everything has to be perfect, and then you can sell quickly.
Yeah.
Right? If you're the opposite of that, if you're overpriced, your home doesn't show well, the curb appeal is awful, like all these things, good luck, because it's not going to be as easy as you think.
I actually just spoke to a realtor, and he was telling me about a listing appointment he just attended, and he said the seller said, look, this is in Canada. He goes, look, the builder's selling this townhome for $800,000, so I want to go in at $790. And he goes, well, no, it doesn't work like that, right? Like
It's a
he's
brand
like,
new home with warranty.
right? Like why? He's like, I'm 10 grand cheaper than the builder, and they can have the house now. He's like, yeah, but some people don't want the house now, and like he's like, look at these comparables, they're going for like 720, 730, right? So it's like, yeah, people just aren't.
Yeah, anybody's looking for a townhome for 800 from the builder, walk away instantly. Do not buy that home from the builder.
And no one's buying them, I don't think. I
No,
think
no.
build like
They're
new
just sitting
sales are just completely down.
What the builder will do is they will price a property high because they don't want to even build it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't care to. If somebody really wants to, like they know what's going to be selling often, and those are the ones that are priced well, and those are the ones that are trying to push into the development areas, right? If a builder has a townhome priced at 800 or 750, like that thing better be more than 2,400 square feet with a finished basement, and it better come with a bunch of upgrades, right? Like there's no, like like there are some townhomes that sell in the sevens, yes, but this is from a huge upscale builder, tons of finishes, like it has everything plus.
Okay.
So those are like, that's one thing, like you got to be really understand what you're buying. Like I just saw the craziest sale. I'm actually gonna, I don't know if this is bad or not. Let's see.
While you're looking, I have some advice for the sellers, because we hear that a lot in Gatineau as well. People don't, on the Quebec side, not just Gatineau, Montreal as well. People don't want to sell. They say they think this is how much the home is worth, and they're oftentimes insisting on keeping the price, and they're burning their listing. One advice for the sellers: let the market talk. Listen to a realtor, put it a bit lower. You're not obligated to sell if you don't get your price, but you're gonna get more interest that way, and I think you're gonna get more. You're gonna get a faster response from the market. What do you guys think about that? Any thoughts? How do you how do you manage expectations?
So like, I don't know. How do you manage expectations for a buyer? So this home, take a look at this, guys. So this property,
Looks nice from the outside.
very nice curb appeal, nice layout. It's a 2012, so it's 13 years old now, right now, right? So most of your major items are coming due, but it's in good shape. It looks really good. Staged, everything's nice. It's beautiful. Nice bath or nice basement. Sorry, backyard is great. You know, like
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It was listed at $699. $699.
Okay.
Sold in 3 days firm for $760.
Not
Wow.
surprised.
Why? Like who? Why are you paying for something that's 13 years old? You could have gone to the builder and gotten something better. That's what we were just talking about. 800,000, right? Like
Yeah.
why didn't they go buy that? It's probably bigger than this place, and it probably comes with like. You probably need a new furnace. I mean, again, I'm talking generally. Maybe it doesn't. Like it's a nice home. Granted, end unit probably backs onto like you back onto a park. Like there's not much. You have separation from the rear neighbors, so it's like it's a very nice home.
It shows really well. Yeah.
I guess it's the staging, yeah.
Yeah.
Shows well, and also if it was priced a bit below market and there's offers, people get emotionally attached, right?
Yeah, but the
You
last
get an
one-
offer and there's other people.
One down the street sold for $685 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That
All it
is-
takes is somebody to come in, picture their kids running around the
No,
backyard.
it's
yeah.
100%, 100%. So that's why some people are
grand
just
over.
Yeah.
Eh?
For like 100,000.
well, like 80 grand over from the last sale, but the last sale obviously wasn't as nice. So like yes, but they're both like similar units.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't tell me there's an $80,000 difference between this townhouse and the one that sold for 685.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like
That's a
again,
lot.
maybe I don't mean to put these guys on blast. Like good for the seller, they got the best price they'll ever get for that townhome ever.
Yeah.
Often the agent makes a difference, right? Who you're
Yeah.
represented by.
Yeah.
But that's,
Um,
well,
Well, yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, that was my learning lesson of the week last week. I just wanted to kind of share that one. So now let's get into the lifestyle stuff. We went through all the stats. Now we're gonna talk about something a little bit different that we haven't been doing as much. So yeah, go ahead, Esco. I know you wanted to touch on this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about like right now, if you're somebody that wants to get into real estate, the real estate business. So maybe you want to be a realtor or you want to become a mortgage broker, one of the two.
Yeah.
Like, what did you ever think about the two, or did you already know that you wanted to do real estate? Like, did you ever consider being in mortgages or no?
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I was always in sales. Like my background is sales and marketing and stuff like that. So I come from the car industry. You know, it's all people facing. So you're always interacting with people. And yes, there's numbers involved, but it was more so, I like the interactions and the relationships I built. I was like, you know, I was always experience focused, like focusing on how the customer experience was. Now it's client experience, so now I make sure that my clients have the best experience. So I always thought about real estate. When I was in the car industry, I was pretty young. Like I didn't know much. So I always thought that there was something a little bit more that I could do than just work for a retail store. And then I had thought about real estate for years. Then I actually went in, did the courses, and now I'm in real estate. And that was kind of how I went into it. I thought about mortgages. I never really considered it too much. I thought I would get bored, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think I would. Like now looking at the two, that now that I know more about both, I don't think I would get bored with mortgages. I prefer the real estate, being an agent a little bit more. There's a little bit more difference. Not sure. I don't want to say action, but it's you're involved with the consumer, your client, and a product, which is the house. So there's a little bit more nuances there, but again, there's nuances on the mortgages side too. So there's some differences there. What made you guys go into mortgages?
What about you, Michal? Did you ever consider real estate?
I actually
first of all?
did consider, and
Okay.
I was really torn between the two because
Okay.
on one hand, so my main consideration is my children were smaller when
Okay.
I got into when I had to make the decision. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't have to actually. I quit a corporate job, but my kids were smaller, and my wife's a lawyer, so she's out of the house a lot. So I figured, okay, two parents out of the house is going to be challenging. So as a mortgage broker, you can work remotely most of the time. Yes, I do have some clients who want to meet me, but I was torn between the two because on one hand, yes, as a mortgage broker, you have that flexibility of where you work, and then you can kind of except for the calls, you can do your work if you want at midnight. Whereas as a realtor, it's kind of more fixed, right? Like if you have visits, you do your visits.
Yep.
So if you want to play golf one day and you have 10 visits, forget about it. Me, as if I just have a couple of calls, I can work around my schedule and then work until midnight or 1 a.m. if I want to.
Yeah.
However, the realtors are the source of business, right? I find it funny that clients always call the realtor, and then the realtor sends them to a mortgage broker or a mortgage rep at the bank or whatever. So it's interesting that way. You think that the clients would call the mortgage broker first, but the point is, the realtor is the most prestigious like position of the two, I think, at least in the eyes of somebody who was a neophyte before. Now I see the value of a mortgage broker, and I'm happy I made this choice, but it was a tough choice. There's pros and cons, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How was your? By the way, did you also consider both, or?
I did consider both. Like, oh yeah, like when you were talking about, like, yeah, like the realtor side is more sexy, right? You have selling LA, selling the hills, selling
All
New
fake.
York.
It's all fake. Do
You
not
know.
want, like that's not our day-to-day life. Like those, like look up, like Google those names. Go on Google, ask each actor, whatever actor, type in the actor's name, ask ChatGPT how many sales has this actor made from this show. It'll be like one a year, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Everybody that thinks that my life is like that, it's not. It's not even close. It's a lot of stress.
No, exactly. No, for sure. Yeah, like for me, I was a finance manager at Chrysler. I was there for 7 years, so I had an understanding of lending and credit. And so this was, I always went to my own business, so this was a natural progression. For me, it was more like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, but I was thinking like, if I become a realtor, I like real estate, but if I become a realtor, I'm pretty much saying, look, I'm staying in this city for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right? Because you build your brand in that city.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm someone, of course, I have a daughter now, so things are different. But before, like, you know, I used to go to London, I'd go to Toronto, I'd go to different places. And so I like that flexibility that wherever I am, I can earn a living, and the possibility to scale. Like I thought, you know, I can grow ABC financial company and then eventually get bought out, which I don't know if it's the same for a broker's book of business, but that's more long-term stuff. But yeah, there are pros and cons. Like the average transaction, a realtor makes more per transaction because they get paid on the purchase price. We get paid on the total finance. So somebody can buy a $2 million home, but they put $1.5 million down.
Yeah.
So there's that difference, plus what the compensation model is. But the pro on the mortgage side is that you are able to scale it, and that you're not really relying on purchases alone. You're doing renewals, refinances. So there's different revenue streams. So I think like somebody entering the business now, wanting to know, I think it's just, don't choose what's going to make you more money, because they're both going to make you a lot of money. Top performers make a lot of money in both fields, but just look at what you like to do. Do you like to solve puzzles? Do
Find
you
your
like to go on
passion.
the field?
I think that's the biggest thing. Cause like,
Exactly.
like, could I do mortgages? Could I do real estate? Sure. I think I could do both. Do I
Yeah.
want to do both? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right. Do I want to pick one and build on that? Yes. That's kind of what I look at it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here, but, yeah, for real estate agents this is what I'm saying. So for real estate agents and mortgage brokers, yes, the top producers make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
The top producers is always, you know, 20% makes 80% of the income.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about the bottom 80%.
Right.
Those guys or those girls are all struggling, right? So that
Yeah.
there's a huge gap in the industry on both sides, on the mortgage side and the realtor side. And even like other things that attach themselves to that, home inspectors, appraisers, all these things, like these are all relationship built businesses.
Yeah.
And if you're not building relationships, your business isn't growing. It's actually like the less you're working on the relationships you're building and getting new client acquisition, I think your business is diminishing probably 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x, all the way down the less you're working on it.
Yeah.
And then the opposite happens, and I think that's why there's like a huge gap difference. The difference between the realtors, mortgage agents, yada yada yada, all, you know, name X trade and add it in there. The top 20% are always working on client acquisition, good reviews, referrals, all these things which are 10xing their business all the time, and that's why they're staying in that top echelon, whereas the bottom is fighting to get to that. But it's possible to get there. I think that's what I think why a lot of people like think it's like a sexy business to get into. You know, like, I don't want to be a plumber because I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to be in construction. You know, all these things, right? All these different excuses. But you know, I know a lot of very wealthy construction guys like that you know, work their butt off to get to get to that kind of top echelon of their field too, right? So
Yeah.
I think all of it requires work, and I think the first 5 to 10 years are the hardest in any business. And I think,
Yeah.
we can also relate to a restaurant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who makes money in the restaurant business in the first 2 years,
Not many. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
what are you doing in your first 2 years of the restaurant business? Your client acquisition. You're looking at how many people know the restaurant, how many regulars are coming in,
Yeah.
all these things, right? So, yeah, a restaurant can blow up, and so can a realtor, so can a mortgage broker. They can all,
Yeah.
go off and get a ton of clients, and and business can be booming, right?
Yeah. I think the start is the start is the most fun. Like it's not when you're
it's
doing
the build,
it,
yeah.
but
Like when you get there, it's not that; it's the journey up.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
because now I'm thinking about it, like I'm getting calls and
Yeah.
lots of referral sources and that sort of thing, and so I'm getting the mortgages, but I'm thinking the warm, fun feelings were like when you're new, like, hey, I'm a mortgage broker, like you're
Click.
just starting, you're
Click.
just starting off, and you think about those days, like some of the places you've gone to, and
Like,
things
yeah,
you
buddy,
had to do
get
to
outta here,
hunt for
get outta here.
houses. Oh man, I remember I was in Toronto when I started, 2019, and I was going to like businesses, so I printed a bunch of like self-employed pamphlets to say like, hey, we do mortgages for self-employed businesses, and I'm in North York, I'm in these plazas, and like you can imagine the kind of businesses I ran into
Yeah.
going in there, and it was interesting because like I had been a finance manager for 7 years at that time, so free car, great paying job, all of it, and then
Welcome to ground zero.
and then
buddy.
you're ground zero, you know.
You get the headache, but-
Yeah. So it's just interesting. But now I think of those days, I'm like, that was fun, like.
Yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
it made you the person you are today, right? And
Yeah.
you can be grateful for the people you have in your business, in your life, that supported you, all this stuff,
Yeah.
because you related to what you had, right? And that's
Yeah.
kind of like I feel the same way, right? That's why I'm so grateful to like my clients for trusting in me,
Yeah.
because I also started off at zero. Like nobody
Yeah.
knew me as a real estate agent. Nobody cared that I was a real estate agent. Why would they care?
Yeah.
I had friends and colleagues that have had the same agent for the last 3 homes. Why would they call me? Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm a new agent that has no experience, that has nothing, right? And now it's like people call me like, hey, you helped out so-and-so. I'm really looking for this. Do you think you can help me? Is that even possible? Yeah, let me, this, and that,
Yeah.
right? So then your skill comes to place, right? And the skill and all that stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. And then I think that's the funnest part about any journey / business / job is the journey upwards.
Yeah.
Right? Because that journey upwards is not like this. It's probably like this,
Yeah.
and then like this, and then you end up somewhere there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's that, like when I say like this, there's sometimes even down there, right? So,
Yeah.
it's it's a good feeling for sure. I know what you mean, and yeah, it's everybody calls it the come up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The come up is always the best part.
Well, there's a lot of rich people who essentially, well, not rich people, but there's a lot of accomplished business people who
Yeah.
sell off their business and then they end up starting a new one because they
Yeah.
look for that feeling. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys, but some of my best memories were when
Absolutely.
I was a kid. I didn't have a car. I wasn't driving a BMW. I didn't have a big house. I was just busing with my friends
Yeah.
to places and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I told myself, I was like, oh, like I have a goal of getting this. Like when I was like 15 or 16 years old, like, oh, I'd love to have this. It was like I think the car back in the day when I was 15 or 16 was a Honda Accord Coupe.
I had one of those.
Like, that was like that was like
V6.
my dream car. Like, I was like
92
15 years old. And
EXR.
I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna work 3 jobs. I'm gonna somehow find a way to buy this car. Like
Yeah.
I'm like on Kijiji and Facebook every day trying to like find like the cheapest one. Like how do I get my hands on this friggin' car? Anyways, like that was the dream back then. And then
Yeah.
dreams change and you evolve, and your next dream is a house, your next dream is this, your next dream is a business, your next dream is traveling here and there, right? So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's fun to look back at sometimes, right?
Did you ever get the Honda? I mean, I know obviously.
No, I got a
you-
better
you
car than
moved-
that. I better
Yeah, no,
better.
you have better now, but
Yeah.
like back then, like when you were looking.
No, I didn't. I'd never like. I ended up. So the way it ended up going is like. I ended up. My first car was a Honda Civic, like 05 Honda Civic,
Yeah.
manual transmission, beige color exterior, beige interior,
Nice.
roll up windows.
It works.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was the best car.
Yeah.
Spent no money on gas. So
Somebody's still driving that today.
I hope not. No, I hope not. Actually, no, I took it to the junk.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I took it to the
drove
junk.
the
I
ground?
drove it to the
Yeah.
ground. No, I had so much mileage on it. It was insane, and it was destroyed at the end because I passed it down to my brother, and he finished it off for me. But no, no, I ended up working at getting a job at Mercedes for a bunch of years, and ended up driving cars from there and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it was good. But no, I never got the Honda, but I surpassed it. So I had a goal to get the Honda Accord, and then, when you visualize a goal, you kind of just tend to go over it. So yeah.
No, exactly.
Do you have any tips for young mortgage brokers starting in the business for today? What would you say? What would be your first three things you would do as a new mortgage broker?
Honestly, don't look around for the best split.
Yeah.
Look around for the best mentor, because that mentor could, turn one deal into a deal, and that'll make up for more than that split difference, 5 basis point, up and down, or 5%. So find a good mentor. When I started, I had a really good mentor. I was working for a guy who, a little bit of an old school mortgage broker, but he was process. So he would always, he had a process in place. He had, he was the follow-up king, and he would call nonstop. And, oh, your kid, how's his arm? I know it was broken last time. He did that. He did those things, like the fundamentals. And it just sort of showed me that, this guy is super successful, but he's still following up with people and talking to them. So I feel like find a good mentor that you could work with. It makes a world of difference. And then after that, just learn your product. Like the thing is, most brokers, we have so many lenders. Each lender has so many different programs. Most brokers have their few go-to lenders, few go-to solutions, 5% down, government employee, 90-day bank statements. Like a monkey can do that. Okay, really. Maybe not as well as a human, but essentially. So you want to understand product. You want to learn about net worth programs. You want to learn the technical stuff, because that stuff is where you build a name, right? You become an authority on a matter because people call you when something is very difficult, or a file is collapsing, it's not closing. They call you. So I would say learn your product. Learn the product inside and out. When somebody tells you about their situation, you should automatically know where I'm going to send that deal. So product knowledge is huge. And number 3 is treat it like a job. Yeah. You're not a secret agent. You're a mortgage agent. Get out there, tell people, right? Call people, advertise. Almost be shameless about it, because you have to build your business. So, it's a nice title.
So somebody else is being shameless about it,
right?
Right.
Yeah. Get out there.
Good, yeah.
Tell people at the gas station. Don't keep it a secret.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. Yeah.
Tough act to follow. I agree with all that. I think those are the basics. What would I add is maybe find a niche. Now everybody's on social media, right? So if you're everything to everybody or nothing to nobody. So if you find your niche, actually helps also with the product knowledge, right? Because at first I think it can be overwhelming. Yeah. If I remember from back in the day. Yeah. There's so many products that are always changing. So if you have a niche, let's say plexes or business for self.
Yeah. Rural properties, whatever, right? There's
exactly.
Cottages.
Then you're that person. People think of you. That doesn't limit you to that one niche. Mm-hmm. You can go and people. So let's say if you're the plex specialist, people will still come to you for homes, because if you're a specialist, it's something that's a bit more complicated. There's more moving parts, rents, whatever. Yeah. Then people will still trust you for, let's say, a mechanic for Ferrari. Would people with their BMW or Honda come to you? Sure, if the price is right? And our services are mostly free. Yeah. So except for some particular some lending options. Yeah. That would be my first one. Second one is, and you alluded to that, is prospect. Just spend time every day. Reach out, not just to your network, but reach out to make new connections. Try to talk to, and not just realtors. Everybody only focuses on realtors, but there's financial planners, accountants, lawyers. Try to meet as many people as you can. Yeah. And in my experience, people do business with people they like, right? Mm-hmm. So with some people you'll click. You don't have to be a chameleon or anything like that. You just be you, but with some people you'll click well, with others you won't. Yeah. And the more you put yourself out there, the luckier you get. Yeah. If you stay on the couch kind of hoping for business and just put ads, might not work the same way. And I had a number 3, but I lost my train of thought. The number 3 would be, the number 3 is expect a very uphill kind of grind at first, and you need to know what to expect. Don't expect you're going to make the big bucks right away. Yeah. But rather give yourself a year or two, and don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
and things, the ball starts rolling. Has that been your experience as well, or?
Yes, for sure. Like I tell new agents, I say like the biggest thing you need to address right now is, can I sustain my lifestyle while I'm building my mortgage business? Do I have a partner at home that works that can pay bills? Do I have some savings? If the answers are yes, then I would say like that will take a lot of pressures off of you, because a lot of people quit when, well, I got bills coming. I can't, right? So budget to start this business, but yeah, like take it like, 1 or 2 years I think is realistic. Like I have an agent on my team who's this is his 3rd year now, and like he's finally like people are calling him, like it's like he's in a really good place. And I remember talking to him in the first year, and especially the second year when we had a slow year, and he was kind of feeling a little defeated, like what's going on. I said, listen, like these things take time, like it's like a tree, you're gonna water it.
It's also been the worst markets that
too.
we've been dealing. Like again, I don't like to blame business on how your business is doing on a market, but it's like it's also the elephant in the room that you can't ignore.
Yeah,
right.
plays a role. Yeah.
Like we went from an insane market where everybody was buying and selling everything to now it's like the opposite, right? The very, very few sales compared to those 2 crazy years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
For me, my advice, I would do something a little bit different. I would say talk to ChatGPT
Okay.
and ask it to formulate you a plan on how to be a successful real estate agent or a mortgage agent, and then just build off of that. There is so many different avenues. I see so many people doing different things, and all of it works. The biggest thing is the consistency. So, do you want to be somebody that's a door knocker where you're going door to door every day? I know people that they do 500 or 600 doors a week.
Yeah.
They're making connections that way, which is fine, which is great. I know some people that are cold calling people, making 500 to 600, 1,000 calls a week.
Yeah.
Right? Connecting with people that way. I know people that are, attending a social events, right? Like where they meet people and stuff like that. And that's another way.
Yeah.
I think it's just finding what works best for you. And if it's a combination of things, I forgot the social media aspect, right?
Yeah.
Long form videos, short form videos, all these things. Whatever you're doing, don't be a secret agent. Just
Yeah.
like you said, right? You got to let everybody know.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing is how many people a day can you tell that you're an agent?
Yeah.
Whether it's mortgage or a real estate agent. That's a big one. But
Yeah.
no, I think there's opportunity if you're listening to this and you're thinking about joining the industry. There's lots of opportunity. It's just you have to go knock on it. And somebody asked me, what if it's a slow market? What if I can't get any opportunities? I said, look on the street. How many houses do you see? That's your opportunities right there.
Yeah.
Looking for inventory? Look on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
bad market. Usually, there's a lot of bank repossessions, so you can help people out by, you go knock on doors, and then you offer to put them, because sometimes they've had bad situations in their life, right? They've gotten sick. There's been, some people that fall into drug problems, whatever, and they just don't have need that little boost or that little extra time to kind of. And I think the bank gives you the jolt when they say we're repossessing at least in Quebec in 60 days. If you don't, settle up, we're gonna repo your house and sell it. But for some people, 60 days is too short. So there's an opportunity there, and we're talking about private lending, right? So where you go and you buy them maybe an extra 2-3 months so that they can put the house on the market, clean it up a little bit, nothing too crazy. So there's always opportunities, even in a bad market.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like believing, essentially. Maybe I think it's the biggest names in the industry are saying that you have to have an irrational belief in yourself and in your ability to succeed.
And that's what
Yeah.
they say that for people that are in the NFL, NBA, all the sports, right? Like every sports person, like every high level athlete is like, I just believed in myself for forever, and I didn't think anything else was the goal.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of have that same mentality. It's like you have to be ruthless about you being successful.
Yeah.
And I think that's true in everything in life.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything, right? Like if I said like, like I want to learn piano right now, or you want to learn piano, well, if you spend an hour a day playing piano for the next, for however long, by the end of it, you'd be a pretty good piano player. Right now, if you spend 2 hours a day, like that would just multiply. And the same thing, gym, basketball, whatever you want to do, you put in that time every day. Yeah. You're gonna get results. The same is true for this.
Same as a diet.
Like
Same as a diet, right?
Right.
You eat healthy for a week, and are you gonna lose 10 pounds? No.
Right.
You're gonna lose if you eat healthy for the next 8 weeks. You're gonna lose about 1.2 pounds a week.
Yeah.
And that's gonna compound over time, and then you're gonna look great in 8 weeks, right? Not
Yeah.
just 1 week I ate salads.
Right.
But time will pass either way, right? So
Yeah.
you have a choice. Do you want to stay? I can't remember where I read something was choose your hard. You know, working at
Exactly.
a job is hard. Starting a business is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's harder? And
Yeah.
also the silver lining, what I tell people who are thinking to get in the market now, what I would say is consider the fact that if we're getting now, it's only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would rather get into a tough market,
Yeah.
learn and cut my teeth then, and then when the good times come, you're ready.
Yeah.
Rather than I know some agents on the Gatineau side who started, some realtors, I mean, who started in 2020, 2021 when the going was good, and now
They're gone.
it's
They're
not
gone.
when it's tougher. You don't have that resilience necessarily. You didn't expect it. Right? You had two,
Yeah.
3 good years, and now you're shocked. Whereas
Yeah.
if you start in a tough market,
Yeah.
you can only get better.
Well, that's the thing, right? Everybody was calling you in the good market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think I can get 100K more than what my house is worth? Ah, absolutely. Let's just put a sign on the ground tomorrow and wait,
Yeah.
right? But now it's like those people aren't calling. They're definitely not calling you because
Yeah.
they know their house is not worth. They're looking for the most experienced agent, the most experienced mortgage broker to make sure their next house is going to work out while they're trying. Like all these things are factoring in, right? So if you joined thinking it was just so easy, you're just going to put a sign on the ground and smile and post a nice video of you dancing like a TikTok girl, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not like that's not it.
Sold 300,000 over asking.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
a superstar.
Yeah, finish. Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And rates were 1.2%.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
who wouldn't want to buy a house?
Yeah.
You're bringing up a good point. Like, why? I'm curious. Like, why did you guys join? I know I joined. I had a good corporate job, corporate public service job, which
Yeah.
was paying. I could have stayed on the couch for another, whatever, how many
Yeah.
years it was, 20 years, and then just everything was set. I had the house, I had the car, everything. I think some people like challenge, and I personally like the idea of having a challenge, doing something new. And even though when you're an entrepreneur, you technically you're in control. You can take vacation whenever you want.
Yeah.
You end up not doing it, but I think just that mindset that I can. If I refuse clients for 2 months straight, like the next 2 months, I want to go to Spain to spend 2 months in Spain, I can. I will not do that. It's going to tank my business. But the fact that I can gives me a certain, I don't know, it gives me that.
Yeah.
What was it for you guys? What made you want to not be? And I mean, for like I think for you, well, both of you actually, and you were in sales before. But what made you want to transition from financial services to actual like a job where you eat what you kill, and if you don't, you starve?
Yeah, I think the challenge is one thing for sure. I really enjoy the challenge, the building of it, and it's really just the flexibility. I like you. I wanted to say like I will do this or I won't do this or I like that, and for me like a lot of it too was like schedule, right? Like I wanted 9 to 5. Like that's the other thing. Realtor versus broker conversation is like 9 to 5. Those are my hours. Like Monday to Friday. The banks are closed. The appraisers are closed. The lawyers are closed. I'm closed. Unless like, but typically that I'm not available after those times, and it's because that's part of the perks of this job. So I wanted that. When I was working before, it was working till 9 and that sort of thing. So it just wasn't sustainable long term for me. So that was a huge motivator was the scheduling.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it was I hated having a boss.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
it was
big
just
thing.
like it was like there's no like sometimes it's like, hey, we can't like the vacation thing that like for me like I can't do 5 months of -40.
Yeah.
Like I need to be able to take my vacation when I feel like it, right? And like again, I love like I need to work hard. That's what my business is. It's all hard work and I'm out. Sometimes I'm out of the house from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and sometimes I'm out of the house on a weekend from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. from Saturday to Sunday, and I don't get a weekend. But the fact that I can leave the house or leave the country for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, right? Go take a break, go take time off and really recharge. I think that's what I love about the business, and that's what got me into it, is just like not having to worry about, hey, do you mind if I take a vacation? It's only 5 days, do you mind? Like I'm begging for a vacation. It's like, no, you get your 3 weeks. You're allocated those 3 weeks for a reason, or 2 weeks, whatever it is. You should be allowed to take them whenever you want, but in reality, it's not like that, right? You got to get things approved and stuff like that. So here, I'm my own boss, so the only way I take a vacation is if I can afford it.
That's it.
So what does for those listening, what vacation spots do you recommend? What's your recommendation as a top realtor? What do you go on vacation to unwind? Because, for those who work hard and they wanna.
Yeah, so I go to the Balkans typically every 2 years. So I'm from the area, so Bosnia, Serbia, Croatia, I like any of those places just because there's a lot to do there. And then, you know, I think Europe is beautiful personally. I do like down south. Mexico, I've been, Brazil is a really good one. Brazil is an interesting one.
Wow.
A little bit of a long flight from here, but very, very interesting. I haven't been to anywhere in Asia. That would be somewhere on my bucket list for sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot to explore. I think the whole world itself is really you got to explore, right? And I think just taking the time to learn about the world is a big one.
Yeah,
you?
for sure.
Because you mentioned London, you mentioned you traveled a lot. So
Yeah, I lived in London
any
for a little bit.
for whoever's watching?
Yeah, I don't know, like I like the Balkans too. I love that area. I was born there, so I go there.
Same.
Yeah, like yeah, you too. Like I love that area. But Asia, yeah, I'd love to go to Asia for sure. Even like parts of South America, I'd love to go to parts of Africa. I mean, the world is a
Yeah,
place,
exactly.
right? Really,
you
anywhere,
gotta
yeah.
try different things
Yeah.
and experience different cultures and stuff like that.
What about you, Mihai?
Europe, mostly
Europe.
Balkans.
Yeah.
Back in Romania, Spain.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
visited France in a long time. It's been like 30 years or something. But France, and I want to go to Italy and Greece. But mostly Spain. I keep going back. I had the plan a couple of years ago, and then I keep going back to Spain.
Okay.
We had the plan: Spain first, then Côte d'Azur, you know, the
Yeah.
Monaco, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Then Italy and Greece.
Yeah.
We'll keep going back to Spain. So
Okay.
actually, I forgot when you mentioned the flexibility. That's part of the reason why I decided to be a mortgage broker, not a realtor,
Yeah.
because I could technically work, 2-3 months remotely from there
Yeah.
in preparation for a possible retirement down the line if I make my magic number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Cool, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up there. We're gonna finish up here, but yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for both coming in today. So, Mihai, where can the people reach you?
Instagram mp.mortgage.
Cool. And Isco,
Yeah.
we know you for 613 Mortgage Broker.
Yeah, 613 Mortgage Broker, and I'm there. You guys can message me, DM me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dean, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you
for having
guys.
us.
Talk to you guys soon. Take
All
care.
right, take care. Bye bye. Nice, nicely done, man.
Well,
Nicely
come on,
done.
guys.
No,